And welcome to Castle Motorsports Park, home of King of the Castle for the 2024 Stars Championship Series season. Round 2 about to get underway. You're watching the Pro Show presented by Mazda Motorsports. OKN Stars, the first of our 2 headline categories, getting set to get underway here from Newcastle as the drivers begin to make their way onto the front straightaway. Let's take a look back here from the opening round of the season and recap what has taken us to this point. We kicked things off at the Queen City Gambit at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go back here. First and foremost, Peyton Phillips and Diego Ramos led us to green, and off the bat, the reigning champ Brandon Carr got turned around. But the story of the weekend was the speed of Paulie Massimino and Caleb Gaffera. They both had one good heat and one bad heat. That put them back in the grid as they started to work their way up the main. And then, as you can see, they were able to quickly get towards the leaders with a little help of attrition, like Peyton Phillips having the spark plug blue come off in the lead of the main early on. Then from there, it became Diego Ramos versus Nick Terlecki. Terlecki taking over the lead and chasing that first career 125 Pro Division main event win. Ramos stayed with him, but again, you could see as the race drew on, Massimino was getting closer and closer. He made his move eventually, getting around Ramos with just 7 minutes plus 2 laps to go. And then from there, he charged forward, eventually getting by Nick Terlecki. And you thought maybe at this point, with how fast the number 40 was, he was going to be able to rock it away, but Terlecki was right there challenging, continuing to put pressure back on and not going away easily. In fact, he was able to get away back down the inside on the back straightaway, retake the lead, and this duo put on one heck of a show from there. They were side by side, corner after corner, with Massimino getting the lead back away. Ultimately, he had to start going on the defensive from Terlecki and hope that Terlecki would make a mistake, and that led us into the final couple laps here with just 50 seconds to go. He started the low side into turn number 1. Terlecki with that slick crossover got himself back to the lead. Both drivers hunting for their first career 125 Pro main event win. Massimino at the time, all he had to his credit after multiple years in the category was a shootout win in the All-Star race at the Miami Grands. So there was so much pressure on the two of them to get it done, to get that big momentum push. And it kept Ramos in the mix as well as they continue to duke it out all the way through. Side by side, even this move. Terlecki almost got the lead on the outside lane there that time. And Massimino was hoping Ramos would get there, but ultimately the deciding moment in the race came right here with 3 laps to go, 10 seconds plus 2 laps. This moment, Massimino blocked low. Terlecki kind of got into him, but ultimately as he was getting backed up, the bumper went behind the tire, and it took Nick out of the fight. It gave Paulie the big gap that he needed to drive away, and from there on, Massimino was able to continue the run of speed that he had through the weekend with a gap back to Ramos, focus on hitting his marks, and march his way to a home victory. He lives just within an hour of Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was a last-minute call to put him in the seat on Friday morning, and he took full advantage, scoring the opening round of the OKN Stars category. Now, we send it down to Simon Sykes, who's standing by with our round 1 winner on the grid.
Thanks, Xander. I'm standing here with Paulie Massimino, your round 1 winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Currently, we're here for round 2 at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Can you give us a little insight to how the weekend's progressed for you so far, including the difficult conditions?
Yeah, I mean, I've been having some fun this weekend. Kind of had some bad luck again. Heat 1, unfortunately, we weren't able to run. And Heat 2 kind of made the wrong decision on the gear, I think. I felt like our pace was good. I think just where our speed was in the wrong spot. I think we got a really fast piece. We haven't driven in the dry since qualifying, or at least I haven't. But I think our kart's really good. So let's see what we got.
All right, after that wet weather mess we had yesterday, what's the game plan going into this main, knowing it's a full dry race? We're back to those quality conditions.
Make it through turn 1.
Awesome. Great to hear from Paulie Massimino. I'll send it back to you, Xander.
Now again, as Simon mentioned, Paulie Massimino had a similar tale from Charlotte Motor Speedway in the heats. Let's take a look back at how those heat races fared here for our OKN Stars drivers. It was 2 lengthy motos yesterday in the tricky conditions here from Newcastle Motorsports Park. And again, Massimino started okay, but off the bat, he knew something was wrong and already started to fade backwards. And that shifted the spotlight to our pole man, Diego Ramos, but even more so to the Hotes DD Tony Kart of Nick Terlecki, who quickly went from third to second and then to the lead right here. Now, it was dry at this point in the race, but we were waiting all day long for the rain to begin to fall, and it started just in a few moments right here. And this is when things got crazy. Everyone started searching for grip at all points of the racetrack, and it looked like a dirt race, slipping and sliding, slide jobs everywhere. Ramos, Caleb Gaffera there on that blue, white, and red LEM kart. Now, keep in mind the 54 as you watch this through. He's side by side there with Terlecki, and he was going for it from the green flag. First there, him and Ramos collide, and that allowed Terlecki to get back to the lead. And all of this allowed more drivers to get into the mix of it. Then Gaffera drops a tire, and right here, big deciding point in that opening moto as Ramos went to the lead, but only here, Caleb sends it just a bit too hard and takes them both out of contention. Kekai Halmanillo, a one-off ride for him with Team GWR, then inherited the lead, only for just a few moments later as the track continued to dampen to lose it down in the braking zone and go up and over the hill and off the side, and giving the lead back to Nick Terlecki. Then you saw at the end Ramos giving a little congratulations to Caleb for the job of taking him out of the race. But ultimately, the story was all about this man, Nick Terlecki, who got his moto win and his mojo back after the heartbreak in Charlotte. But by the time we went green for Moto 2, it was a full wet race. Wet tires and a soaked racetrack with rooster tails everywhere. Massimino with a little better run. As you can see, the field was just completely blinded by the spray. But once again, the number 88 pressuring for the top spot, and his teammate Josh Hotes with an even better run as Terlecki eventually got to the lead ahead of Ramos, but his team owner, his teammate Josh Hotes, even better. First up, Hotes had to get through Diego Ramos. He did so down by turn number 1 and went to the lead. And Ramos faded back to third with Massimino right there. Then Josh had to hunt down his teammate, which he did, got clear, and pulled away early on. He was able to get through and get clear, and that was pretty much that, as Terlecki would eventually fade back outside the top 3, Hotes getting the moto win and scoring himself a much better starting spot. But Nick Terlecki's awesome performance puts him on the pole here for today's main, and he's going to get set to lead us to green. Before we go green, though, folks, we have to get things started in the best way possible, and that is with the singing of our national anthem. So we will send it down trackside before the drivers get the engines fired.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the us fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? God bless America.
And thank you very much. What an awesome rendition of our national anthem as the drivers begin to get suited up here for the OKN Stars main event. 18 minutes plus 2 laps here from Newcastle Motorsports Park to decide King of the Castle. The direct drive machines, you can see the drivers are slowly getting into their karts and getting set to roll off the grid. We will get a moment here to take you through the starting lineup, beginning with the Hotes driver development number 88 machine, Nick Terlecki on the inside of row 1, alongside the number 2 plate of Henry Wheeler. Row number 2 has his team owner, Josh Hote, starting on the inside in 3rd. Alongside him will be Top Gun. Wesley Gunler leads the Fox & Son karting brigade from 4th in the 46. Aiden Fox, his teammate, rolls off on the inside of row number 3 in the number 11. Alongside Mr. Wildman from yesterday, Caleb Gaffera toned things down and had a good second moto. It puts him in a 6th place starting spot for today's main. And the driver that he collided with earlier on in the weekend, Diego Ramos, rolls off on the next row behind him there in the number 21 in 7th. Ben Hernandez 8th, Aiden Larenko 9th, Kekai Hawanio in 10th. And outside the top 10, round 1 winner, Paulie Massimino, and round 1 race leader early on, Peyton Phillips in row number 6.
Yeah, then you go further back in the field with a lot of other names that have to work their way up the field. Shea Aldrich starting 12th, Mingnan Zhu 13th, Wapeng Zhang 14th, Theo Corelli 15th here. So at the moment, should be 16 drivers total getting set to go green, with Daniel Piercy rounding up your field, starting Shotgun Charlie on the field in 16th. But if this main event's anything like what the motos were like yesterday, we're in for a good one here, Xander.
Yeah, this is going to be wild for sure here in OKN Stars. Now with the track drying out, we haven't really gotten to see a fully dry session. We got about 5 or 6 laps of it in Moto 1, and that was it. So not only are we flying blind, the drivers are as well. The only good part for them, they did get a dry warm-up session, well, somewhat dry this morning, but it was still pretty wet. As the B pre-finals, the optimal tire was the wet tire. So realistically, the track conditions they're seeing right now, they haven't seen since Saturday morning's warm-up session. And so what adjustments did they make? Did they make any? And did they make any gains, or did they end up going a bit backwards on speed? We are about to find out. For Hotes driver development, their best weekend so far. And we heard from Josh Hotes earlier in the day. He said it felt good to know that I can still go out there and get it done. He's got a great starting spot in 3rd. Wesley Gunler trying to rebound from some bad luck in Charlotte, rolling off 4th. But most importantly, the protagonist of this weekend here, Nick Terlecki, on a vengeance tour, is ready to lead us to green. He's on the inside of that green and white Tony kart. Henry Wheeler on the outside. OKN Stars, King of the Castle. The main event is underway as they hit the gas and roll down the front straightaway towards turn number 1. A good start for Nick Terlecki and Josh Hotes. They'll get to 1st and 2nd. Wheeler will slot to 3rd, and Gunler and Fox are side by side as Caleb Gaffera goes a little bit wide.
Yeah, very, very tame start here. Nobody really doing too many moves, and as I say that, big contact further back. Mingnan Zhu is collected there, as well as Daniel Piercy. I believe that's not Mingnan Zhu, that's Wapeng Zhang there. So those 3 drivers get collected. Wow, Aiden Larenko went around, and already 3 drivers out of this one early.
Yeah, Larenko sent it there in the shark fin, trying to make up a few spots, and the old adage saying of you can't win the race on lap 1, turn 1, but you can lose it. Well, that was, I guess, turn number 4, but it still takes them all out as they're not able to restart these direct drive karts once the track goes green. So 3 drivers gone already, and you saw, I believe, Theo Corelli having to take evasive action through the grass. He's still running, but a good ways back as Terlecki leads the field through the scale tower here for the first time. And Paulie Massimino did a great job avoiding the chaos, but it cost him some valuable time as well, as it's a Hotes DD. 1-2, then Henry Wheeler, then Aiden Fox, Wesley Gunler, Caleb Gaffera, Ben Hernandez, Peyton Phillips with a good start over Hawanio, Shea Aldrich, and Diego Ramos is somewhere in the mix in there as well, just a bit further back.
Yeah, Diego Ramos was able to get clear on Wesley Gunler that time by. Aiden Fox going to go on Wheeler there. Fox is able to get clear and up in a 3rd here. Don't forget, Aiden Fox is your reigning King of the Castle. He won last year, looks to go back-to-back here this weekend. Just been struggling with pace in the rain. We haven't seen anybody in the dry in racing action here. So definitely a lot of question marks here, but Aiden Fox absolutely rolling here in the early stages of this one.
Yeah, through the run towards the cell tower hairpin, Nick Terlecki, Josh Hotes, Aiden Fox, Henry Wheeler still bouncing a little bit. Tires not up to temp, kind of folding that sidewall. That's going to back him up towards his teammate in Ramos as Terlecki takes us through the short chute towards the scale tower with Hotes and Fox in tow. How long Does team owner want to wait? Not long. Josh Holtz, new leader, coming out of the final 2 turns. He'll lead lap number 2 over Terlecki and Fox, and it's a 6-car group up front.
Yeah, and there you see Josh Holtz point to his helmet, telling Nick Terlecki to be smart, to push each other forward as Ramos going on his teammate. We saw it a lap before by the Holtz DD drivers. Ramos going to go ahead of Wheeler, so Diego Ramos up to P4 here. Spoke to him yesterday, said he felt confident in their piece here, and we haven't seen him too much in the drive for more than probably 5 laps in the moto. So now seeing Ramos here come to life in the drive.
Yeah, Diego Ramos trying to make some moves now as he gets around Gundler, and Terlecki already looking to go back, I think, maybe on his teammate Josh Holtz, getting through to the lead, but has it pulled away, and that has stacked them up. Aiden Fox still showing a lot of patience right now there in the 3rd spot, but Ramos is right there and looking as they all kind of fade low in the hairpin. This is going to get dicey here real fast. 5 cars, 6, nearly 7, bumper to bumper. Here comes Fox for second from Terlecki. He'll take it away as Wheeler gets around Gundler.
Yeah, and there goes Diego Ramos. He looked for a move. Ramos was able to get clear on Terlecki that time by. So Diego Ramos up another spot, and right behind Henry Wheeler, Caleb Gaffera looked like he wanted to make a move in turn number 15. Wasn't close enough that time by for Caleb G.
Yeah, Caleb Gaffera with a big run towards Henry Wheeler on the front straightaway. Loses a little bit there as they pop the limiter, and into turn number 1. Everyone stays single file. That's a hard corner to pass in because they're bouncing the rev range so early down the straight. Into the shark fin's a little tricky as well, but right here's a good passing zone if you're close enough. But they're all spread about a car length to 2 car lengths apart, so we'll keep them single file. Looking at the gaps away, Ben Hernandez, Peyton Phillips, they're not terribly far back from this group. If they fight more, they have a shot as Terlecki goes back on Ramos and retakes the 3rd position. And Henry Wheeler staying right in tow with his teammate, but he's got to worry because Gaffera's close. Gaffera will send it. We've seen him not be afraid at all this week. He makes up another spot, move Caleb G into the top 5.
Yeah, so Caleb G there in the top 5, just on the edge. Peyton Phillips in 8th here. Fastest lap of the race, a 108.911 so far for Peyton Phillips. Continuing to lap pretty quickly around here, but your 2 leaders, Josh Holtz and Aiden Fox, as we have some battling further back, Wesley Gundler and Henry Wheeler battling it out for that spot.
Yeah, through the final couple turns and onto the front straightaway. I think Gundler might be close enough to send it on Wheeler this time. Don't know if anyone else is close. He's going to lose a little bit. Let's see if he ducks out. He does. But he runs out of steam, so he just ends up kind of defending from Ben Hernandez, who has closed in. Look at Ramos again. He looked to the inside of Terlecki, had a great launch out of turn 1, but didn't go. But more than anything, the biggest battle looks like it's about to shape up for the lead. Josh Holtz under pressure. Aiden Fox is right there with a good exit out of the infield. Does he go in the green corner? Oh, yes, he does. And a little bit of a slide as he gets by, buys him some time. Holtz now back to his teammates' front bumper in Terlecki, and Aiden Fox leads the way for the first time this weekend.
Yeah, for Josh Holtz, had a really good start here, was really quick early on. Now I'm just thinking about tire pressures here for Josh Holtz. Terlecki was slow, and let's see what it looks like. Does Terlecki go on Holtz? Not close enough that time by, but Josh Holtz is going to definitely want to get around his team owner there in Josh Holtz.
Yeah, Nick Terlecki, he's playing real nice, like you said, with Josh Holtz, but he doesn't have time to wait, unfortunately. Diego Ramos, Caleb Gaffera, they are fast, and they are providing a lot of pressure to the back of the 88 machine. Down the front stretch, Ramos reach down, make a little adjustment as they go down to turn number 1. Nobody's close enough to send it. They're all spaced apart just a little bit as Fox starts to pull away into the shark fin. We're going to see something here. Ramos on Terlecki, not going to be able to get through, and that's allowed them to stack up behind him. Wheeler got a block from Gaffera, and then Gundler. And here comes Hernandez, Phillips, and Massimino closer to it.
Yeah, so there you see already a lot of pushing and shoving. Gaffera all over the rear bumper of Henry Wheeler, and Wesley Gundler all over the rear bumper of Caleb Gaffera as Ramos drops a tire there on the exit, and Wheeler now going to have to go on his teammate. They go side by side, lose a lot of time. Caleb Gaffera goes through as the 2 Burrell Art Machines fight. Yeah,
Wheeler now around the outside on Ramos, and yeah, like you said, he didn't have much of a choice, but Diego is going to get shuffled all the way back behind Hernandez. So what a shake-up here in these first few laps. Diego Ramos goes from looking like a good shot at the win to way outside the top 5 as now it's a Fox and Son 1 and 3 with 1 and 4. Wesley Gundler gets through on Caleb Gaffera through the final couple turns. So big change. Gaffera's right there though. He could go right back on him if he wants to, and he does to the inside. Caleb Gaffera retakes that fourth spot back from Gunler. Wheeler still looking on.
Yeah, Wheeler there. Does he go this time on Gunler? He does inside. A little bit of wheel banging. Wheeler's able to get through, and Gunler's not going to fight it off all too much. Going to give Wheeler the space and not lose too much time because there's still a lot of racing action left. 10.5 minutes left to go in this one.
Josh Oates under fire from Terlecki as Gunler gets back around Wheeler. Terlecki now gets by his team owner. Played patient. It paid off. The fighting happened behind them, and they have now gotten themselves to second and third. And Nick Terlecki can focus fully on tracking down the reigning king, Aiden Fox, who leads probably by about a second right now in the number 11.
Yeah, and for Aiden Fox, just has to keep setting in consistent lap times for Nick Terlecki. Behind Josh Oates, he was a 10th slower a lap to Aiden Fox. This time, we'll see what it looks like for Nick Terlecki, already opening up his gap to Josh Oates. And Caleb Gaffera as well, trying to close down his gap into the podium places for Caleb G, a 108.495, and Josh Oates while getting past a 108.984.
What's most impressive to me about the times right there, Caleb, is Nick Terlecki, even with making the pass on Josh Oates, still made up 1 full tenth of a second on race leader Aiden Fox. That is really good news for the Terlecki camp because you can see the gap he's already pulled away from the 22. But even with a pass made being faster than the leader makes you think that now with clear track and being able to hit his marks in every turn, he'll make up even more ground this time by. So we are in for a treat here, folks, in this OKN Stars main as Nick Terlecki continues to make forward strides towards Aiden Fox in what has been an all Terlecki type of weekend. Great runs in the motos and in second with the fastest potential car on the racetrack.
Yeah, don't forget in that first moto, he took the win in the mixed conditions. Then in the second moto, finished in third. His team owner, Josh Oates, was the driver who won it in that one. But for Nick Terlecki, still looking for that 125cc national victory. Was oh so close at the opening round of the Stars Championship Series. And just it all fell apart in the last couple of laps. This weekend, he looks to change that look. I spoke to him and his dad earlier this weekend. His dad was saying, we're not going back to K100 Senior. This is where we want to be. We want to fight against the best in the nation. We want to win races here. And they've been super close, but just bad luck has definitely rigged Terlecki's chances at the start of this year.
Well, they say that you've got to lose one, or in really this case that we've seen with so many drivers, lose a few before you win one. Nick Terlecki with the best chance it seems like he's had since he's moved up into the pro categories at the beginning of last year with the OKN Stars inception, closing into Aiden Fox tremendously. Last time by, 3/10 better. Now he's within the drafting window. He's going to get a big run forward as well, though don't forget about Caleb Gaffera. He's already really closed the gap to Josh Oates. Either a pass for first or pass for third is going to happen, one probably before the other. We're just not sure which will be which as they head onto the front stretch again. Another lap in the books. There's a look at the gap for third. Here's the fight for the lead and the win. Fox knows it's coming. Here comes Nick Terlecki for the lead. Turn one, he gets by.
Yeah, Nick Terlecki had a really good run there on the exit of turn 16. Let's see how Aiden Fox looks behind Nicholas Terlecki. Hasn't really followed anyone all too much so far in this race. And you can't forget, Aiden Fox knows how to go quick around here. Is from a couple of states over to Indiana, but has won here before. Like we said, won here last year as the reigning king of the castle, and now going to have to stay with the rear bumper of Nicholas Terlecki if he doesn't pull away.
Now behind them, it looks like Caleb Gaffera might be close this time into the cell tower to get on Josh Oates, and indeed he already did. Got him in the green corner, so Caleb G onto a podium spot here. He was just outside, shut out of the podium in Charlotte for his home race. Now in third, and he still has time to try and track down the leaders as he's about a second and a half away. And further back, Diego Ramos, we saw him at the top of the frame get by in the shark fin over Henry Wheeler. He's trying to march his way back forward. It has just been bad luck really going the way of the Brazilian. After qualifying on the pole, nothing has gone the way of the number 13 car as Terlecki and Fox exit turn number one. So Ramos, unfortunately, he's roughly around fifth, maybe 3 seconds and some change back. His transponder's not responding right now, so that's why you're not seeing Ramos on the leaderboard. But I'd imagine as long as the transponder's mounted properly, they'll hand score him, and he'll get credited with where he's at, which currently is fifth, and he's far enough ahead of Wheeler that he's probably around 2.5 seconds back from the leader. So he's not out of it, but he needs a lot to happen to bring him really into it. With Terlecki and Fox just kind of biding their time and running some laps right now.
Yeah, and another driver that needs a lot to fall into his lap is Paulie Massimino in 9th place here. I don't know if something is amiss on that BJR MDR Len Carter. They're just down on power simply this weekend, all the way down in 9th and falling under fire to Ben Hernandez here for Paulie Massimino. Your round 1 winner, and just it's all gone wrong so far this weekend for Paulie.
Yeah, just not been the weekend he needed to try and extend that championship lead. At this point, it's damage control, but you've got championship contender Nick Terlecki leading the way here in the sunshine, and Aiden Fox, who could leapfrog himself well into the top 5 in standings with a good run here in Indiana as we approach the midway point of this season. But for the first time in this main, Nick Terlecki has started to pull a bit of a gap over Fox. So that was 3/10 at the line, might be more like half a second now. The 88, with 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, is looking sporty, Caleb.
Yeah, and every single lap, Nicholas Terlecki extends his gap by about 1/10.5. So already, Aiden Fox just losing time to the Hotes DD driver of Nick Terlecki, who's just putting in burner lap time after burner lap time, keeps it consistent. And it's not that Aiden Fox is inconsistent, just Nicholas Terlecki is simply quicker over the rolling speed here, Xander.
Yeah, and you can compare the gaps for Terlecki back to Gaffera, at least, with Gaffera's timing transponder still working. Ramos not so much now. Diego Ramos further back has gone around Josh Hotes, who is starting to fade pretty hard here in this main. He's going to come under fire from Wesley Gundler soon, but the 21, of Diego Ramos is P4 and probably still around 2.5 seconds back from the lead. And without anything else major happening, I don't know how much higher he can grab because Caleb Gaffera is putting in some strong laps there in 3rd. There you see Wesley Gundler behind Josh Hotes, Henry Wheeler there, then Phillips, then Massimino, who's gone around his teammate, and Ben Hernandez, Kekai Hawanio, 10th, Shea Aldrich, the Corelli, Zoo, the 14 running on the racetrack with, again, Ramos right now in that 4th spot ahead of Josh Hotes, behind behind Caleb Gaffera, trying to hunt down the leading edge motorsports driver, but they're just all at this point running by their lonesome. And it's hard to stay motivated at this point in the race here, Caleb, when you're by yourself, or especially in Josh Hotes' case, when you're just dropping like a rock, to not overdrive, to not make mistakes, and to still try and get everything you can out of your package without overdoing it, because you start to just see the hope go out the window as the leaders drive away.
Yeah, and imagine for Paulie Massimino, who hasn't really had a chance all race, just kind of lapping around here at the moment and falling under fire after winning the round 1 like you did with such speed and such passing ability. Here this round, just nothing like that for the BJR MDR team. So unfortunate for Paulie, who, like you said, wow.
Wesley Gundler, a mechanical failure coming out of turn number 1, running safely in that 6th spot, chasing down Josh Hotes, and he's going to shut that engine off into the shark fin. And for the 2nd race in a row, Wesley Gundler will get struck by the bad luck train and fail to finish. So now Hotes can breathe a little bit easier because the next guy, Henry Wheeler, is still about 9/10 back. But up front, Caleb Gaffera is reeling in Aiden Fox. Now that Fox has sort of lost touch with Nick Terlecki, Caleb G is marching his way to 2nd, and he's going to try and keep his championship hopes alive here by at least doing a P2 run right to Nick Terlecki.
Yeah, so let's see if Caleb Gaffera has enough pace here, and it seems like he does. Lap times compared to Aiden Fox here at the moment, 1/10.5 quicker for Caleb Gaffera than Aiden Fox. Josh Hotes still sits there in 4th. Henry Wheeler sits in 5th, lapping 2/10 quicker than Josh Hotes, and then everybody moves up another spot with the DNF of Wesley Gundler here, unfortunately. But for Caleb G, we'll be there in about 2 laps time here if he can keep up this pace that he has here at the moment. And when they start to fight, if Aiden Fox tries to hold off Caleb Gaffera for the 2nd spot, Diego Ramos could be in a good shot to land on the podium here, Xander.
Yeah, right now Nick Terlecki, as much as he wanted to get around Aiden Fox, is hoping to keep him there in 2nd and not watch Fox fade further back, because the points that he can gain here in this main, that he's already gained a good bit through the motos with his good runs that put him on the pole here for the main event, would start to wither, and he wouldn't get as much of a run towards the front of the championship. but Caleb Gaffera is not going to let that happen. He's already almost on to the rear bumper of Aiden Fox. So we got a fight for second that's going to come all the way down to the wire here in this final, as we are going to approach the line to see probably 3 laps to go, as the timer will hit 0 before we get back around to the loop. So Gaffera, a big run. Fox knows it's coming. Not much he can do unless he wants to start defending early. Does he? Oh, he fades a little low, but at this point, he's going to let Gaffera on through. And a smart move by Aiden Fox there as he checks the gap again back to Diego Ramos. If he were to fight Gaffera any harder, he might have lost the chance at the podium. By letting him go and not really fighting that pass too hard, getting a little bit of a draft off the back of the 54, he can maybe salvage a P3.
And I bet you that Aiden Fox is thinking championship here at the moment, because, I mean, we can't forget how his first round ended. Mechanic was all weekend long for that Fox & Son team across the board. So for Aiden Fox, really needs a result, and a podium would help him out a lot in the championship. He can't lose the spot to Diego Ramos if he wants to be within a shot.
Yeah, no, he needs to get as much as he can get out of this final, and it's not like he had the best of runs through the motos here either. They were decent, but they weren't anything like our race leader, Nick Terlecki, who has just had a mega weekend here. And coming this time to 2 laps to go with a mega gap. This is not just a big breakthrough victory on the verge here for Nick Terlecki. It's also potentially the first pro category win for Holtz Driver Development. This small satellite team out of the Midwest that would be major for them to get this kind of win. To get, really, it would be their first win in any category. They've scored, of course, podiums with both Josh and Nick at the helm, but since the formation of the team a few years ago, they have not yet stood on the top step. And Nick Terlecki trying to bring that one home for the Holtz DD camp, as he's got 1.8 seconds out back to Caleb Gaffera with a lap and a half to go. And now we check back in and look how close the Red Army's leading man has gotten. Diego Ramos is only 4 car lengths away from Aiden Fox.
Yeah, Diego Ramos has definitely been closing in that gap here. For Aiden Fox, a 108.964, just 0.4 of a second slower than Caleb Gaffera out ahead. So Gaffera, if he can continue to set in these lap times, he may have enough space to Aiden Fox behind when the white flag hits, and it's hitting now. So for Nicholas Terlecki, going to take it first, then Caleb Gaffera, Aiden Fox, and Diego Ramos hunting down Aiden Fox, but he may end up running out of time here, Xander.
Yeah, although that's because Fox has kind of turned on the afterburners. He's closed back up to Caleb G here in the last couple moments, and he's only a car length back. That could force Gaffera to start going defensive. He's not close enough currently, but 1 or 2 good corners for Aiden Fox would bring him within range to send a move on Gaffera and try to get that second spot on the podium. And like you said, in this situation, last lap of a race, another spot within reach. How much do you think risk versus reward when it comes to championship? Gaffera, a great exit out of the green corner, pulls him further away. Ramos still lurking on, but he's not close either. They're all 2 car lengths apart to the cell tower, as Ramos with a big run there in the hairpin, but he's not going to be able to do anything with it. He's still 2 car lengths back, still too far back out of the bus stop. Gaffera with a little slide. He'll be okay, though, and it looks like they'll stay in the order as Nick Terlecki is headed home. It is a first national win for Holtz Driver Development. It's a first national win in the pro categories for Nick Terlecki. He wins King of the Castle. Caleb Gaffera holds on to second. Aiden Fox third, Henry Wheeler fourth, Diego Ramos fourth, Henry Wheeler fifth, Josh Holtz sixth, Paulie Massimino a clawing drive to rebound to the 7th spot, Peyton Phillips in 8th, Ben Hernandez in 9th, Shea Aldrich in his first senior category season, jumping head on into the pro categories, a top 10 result here in Newcastle, Indiana. Again, while the timesheets don't reflect Diego Ramos in 4th, we did have a timing issue with the PSL Karting Bureau Art machine, but obviously we watched him on screen there, cross the line P4, so as long as the transponder's on the car, he'll be okay. There's team owner Josh Holtz going by with a congratulations, thumbs up to his teammate Nick Terlecki, who finally, I'm sure, feels just as much elation as he does a sigh of relief that the monkey is off his back in a journey that began at the Stars Championship night fight a year and a quarter ago, making his way into the pro divisions, scoring podiums by the fall of 2023. then again, right in the fight at round number 1 and leading laps, but just coming up shy in a head-to-head fight with Massimino and Ramos. Today, there was no denying the number 88. Nick Terlecki is an OKN Stars main event winner as he wins King of the Castle here from Indiana. The rest of the field will clear things out from our OKN Stars category. Then we'll get set to speak to our Pro Stars drivers as they roll out, but that'll be, of course, after podium ceremonies and post-race interviews with our OKN Stars drivers. We'll take a moment to step away from the Stars Championship Series Pro Show presented by Mazda Motorsports. One main event in the books, one more to go.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes,
Yep,
gloves,
yep,
rib protectors.
got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
We're at a commercial break.
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park as the scale line is beginning to roll for the Stars Championship Series OKN Stars drivers. Nick Terlecki scoring his first career pro main event win, scoring a first career national win for Hotes Driver Development. What an awesome story here for Nick, and again, a great comeback story after the heartbreak he suffered in Charlotte and so many other close calls along the way over the last year and a half for Terlecki. But he is finally victorious here, and he has absolutely stated himself in the championship picture here today with his performance. What a great run in this OKN Stars main. So again, an awesome run by Nick Terlecki. Let's go down to podium ceremonies here. We'll send it over to Caleb Viesca. Caleb, take it away.
Thank you, Xander. I'm here with Diego Ramos. Diego, I know not the result you guys would have wanted, finishing fourth. Just walk me what went amiss for you guys in that one.
I mean, we just missed a bit in the beginning. We had the same problem, I think, the whole weekend. We struggled a bit the first 5 laps, but then after, when everything cleaned up, we are the quickest in the track. Just a little bit upset. We know we had the pace to win. I think no, we are the quickest in the track, and yeah, the team did an awesome job. But we keep pushing, and see if we can find for the next round what happened this weekend.
Sounds good. Well, I know you're back on the track in 2 weeks, Diego, so we'll see you then.
Thank you. Bye.
There you have it from Diego Ramos again. As he mentioned, just a bit of bad luck there at the beginning, but he never gave up, kept on pushing, ends up with a 4th place across the line. A hard-fought run, but like he said, it still kind of keeps him in that championship conversation following that bad luck in Moto 1. Now let's go to one happy team owner here. He led a bit early in the weekend, had a good run early. Josh Oates is standing by. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. I think you said it best. A little bit bittersweet, right? You led a little bit of that race, but your driver still came out on top. Just talk to me what went amiss for you in that one.
Yeah, I think we just didn't get quite aggressive enough on the tire pressure, and it was really good at the beginning. Led some laps early, felt really good early, and then it was just a handful at the end. Fortunately, we hit it with Nick, and he drove perfect from the midpoint on, and just put a gap on everybody. So that was really awesome to see. Feel good for him.
Yeah, and to our knowledge, the first national victory for your team across all categories. How does that feel for you being a team owner, and getting back in the seat a lot more this year?
Yeah, it feels really good. I can't really express my emotions, on the spot, but I'm just so happy for the kid. He puts in a lot of work, he puts in a lot of laps, and it's finally good to see it finally pay off.
Sounds good. Well, congrats on Nicholas winning, and congrats for your team.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What do you guys have from Josh Oates?
There you have it there. Josh Oates, again, talk about a mixed emotion kind of end of the day. They're so close for himself. Again, showing the speed of his Oates DD Tony karts. But ultimately, like you said, he's got to have, the other hat that he puts on, and a very happy moment for himself and for the Terlecki family and for Nick Terlecki to get that maiden national win. So as the drivers begin to roll out for Pro Stars, we'll keep rolling through the OKN Stars Podium while the Pro category for the gearbox divisions gets set to get underway here. They're making their way out onto the finish line straight right now. We'll hear from our top 3 finishers as well. That, of course, 4th place for Diego Ramos, a top 10 and a near top 5 for Josh Oates as well. But a good performance for Oates DD on the weekend. When you take a total up, they won every single race session. Terlecki winning Moto 1, Josh winning Moto 2, Terlecki winning the main. That is a statement made for a small but mighty outfit in Oates driver development. Pro Stars again continuing to roll through, but let's go down to Caleb here with the OKN Stars final ceremonies.
Thank you, Xander, as we get set to go for our podiums. Finishing in 3rd place, Aiden Fox. You have it, Aiden. Again, quick interview here. For you guys, I mean, you won it last year, just fell just short here this year. Just walk to me. Still a good result when you get to the championship. What went wrong for you guys here today from being on the top step here?
Car felt really good off the gate, and quickly realized that we had gone out on too high tire pressure, so started to fall off, and I knew I wasn't going to win, so I just kind of tried to salvage a 3rd, and I'm still happy with this stuff.
Sounds good. Well, congrats on a podium finish, and then finishing 2nd here in the OKN Stars category, Caleb Guevara. Go over here to you, Caleb G. I mean, considering how the weekend started for you and a couple of DNFs, how good does the podium feel at the end of the weekend?
Oh, it's awesome. So I mean, the weekend started off pretty slow. First session was not too good. But then, so now we ended up 2nd, so race started off pretty slow. I got into a race with Wes, Diego, and Henry, and we were having some issues at the beginning getting into each other, but then we all settled down, and I was able to get away, and then started running down 80.
Sounds good. Well, congrats on the podium nonetheless. And then lastly, this kid has been picture perfect all weekend long, putting it on top step of the podium here this weekend, and for the first time in his young career, Nicholas Terlecki. Nick, and lastly, I'll come to you. You were oh so close at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You got it done. You got to the lead. You didn't look back after you took it. How good does it feel to finally be a national race winner?
It feels really good, coming out of Charlotte with that, the incident and everything, and not being able to take the win there, but having a really good weekend, and then being able to finish on top feels really good.
Yeah, and really quickly here, you see your team owner pass you on the first lap, right? What's going through your head there? You're like, do I got to pass this guy back, or am I going to play nice with him for a little bit?
I know, he was smashing at me in the beginning, so I was, letting him go. Maybe could have caught Aiden, and then my car slowly came in, and, when I realized I was catching him, and then I just realized I had to go, and, I was able to pull away.
Yeah, and lastly, I remember your dad telling me, he's off screen here, but he told me that you guys had so much bad luck throughout the year, through the start. You've been close so many times, and, who would you like to thank for this victory nonetheless?
I like to thank, there's a lot of people, my team for their support, just making me go faster. Michael Garringer just really putting in the work and, making my car as best as I can every session. Greg Bell with the engine, it was on point every single session, so I couldn't ask for anything better. And, my dad, getting me out here, being able to race, and have all these close battles and everything, and, it just feels really good.
Sounds good. Well, congratulations to everybody who finished here on the podium. Your king of the castle, Nicholas Terlecki. So hold those trophies up, boys, above your heads.
And there we have it from our Pro OKN Stars main event, and we will switch over to Pro Stars. Now, we showed you the highlights from OKN Stars back at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's take it through the highlights of how we got here to this point in the season with the Pro Stars division here. Going back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, well, it was a two-man fight through the motos. AJ Myers, the Magic Man, one of the winningest pro shifter drivers in America, versus the young Kiwi, Jay Irwin, the 15-year-old sensation for PSL karting, was a rocket ship from the drop of the green. He was pressuring AJ Myers all the way through that main event quickly and decisively, trying to find a way past with the likes of the rest of the field right there. They were all stacked up behind the Magic Man for quite a bit, but ultimately Irwin was able to keep himself in second, keep pressuring the Magic Man, and get a great launch onto the back straightaway right here where he made that pass for the lead. And ultimately, that was the deciding maneuver for Jay Irwin, because from here, he had to defend for a couple of corners to cover it off, but the rest of the pack quickly was swarming like piranhas behind AJ Myers. First and foremost, you saw the likes of Justin White up there. Then Ian Quinn, Irwin's teammate. First, a botched attempt a little bit, trying to get by AJ, and Myers was able to hold him off, but all this allowed Irwin to get further and further up the road. And then eventually, we saw Ian Quinn get by with a great heads-up move on AJ right here through the S's up into the last turn where it didn't work before. He sent it a little harder, and this time he got through. AJ still pressured him, but he just couldn't get back by. He said he felt like the kart just wasn't quite there for him, and so he was fading and just hanging on for dear life, while Quinn was able to get his best career Pro Stars result up in the road in second. The battle then became really for the final spot on the podium with Myers versus Gavin Bailiff and Justin White, and it came down to the last corner, and ultimately Myers was able to hang on and salvage something out of a frustrating main. But on the other end, it was the Kiwi Jay Irwin scoring his first American Pro National win, and this weekend it hasn't been that perfect, but it's still been good. Right, Simon?
Xander, I'm down here with Jay Irwin on the grid. First of all, Jay, an excellent weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway, able to run away and take pretty much all the victories there, including the main event win. Not the same story this weekend, still good pace, but not the runaway victories we were expecting, and some of the rainy conditions threw a wrench in the works yesterday. Take us through how this weekend's been.
Yeah, yesterday, like you said, in the wet, I struggled a bit. It was in the driving. I just wasn't driving it right, but I think today will be better, now that it's dried up, and yeah, a long final.
All right, so knowing that we have an 18-minute plus 2-lap final coming up here shortly, what's the game plan for a race this long?
The same as any KZ race. They always happen really, really early and then string out at the end. So I think just try and do what I normally do in a KZ race and, yeah, make something happen early and then strings out at the end.
Well, best of luck out there, Jay.
Thanks.
Back to you, Xander.
There you have it from Jay Irwin. Now, again, as he mentioned, tricky conditions yesterday. Let's go back and take a look at how we got here for the starting lineup today. First and foremost, again, the rain we saw etch its way in to Moto 1 for OKN Stars? Well, it was fully wet by the time they went green for Moto 1 in Pro Stars. And even still, AJ Myers on the inside of the racetrack got the whole shot from the top qualifying spot on Friday, and he made it look easy. So the battles were all behind him. You saw Irwin charging his way up the grid. So was Josh Conker. The JMF Racing factory kart driver had to come from pretty far back down the grid after a not-so-great quali. But after a weekend in Charlotte where he just really didn't get the good luck, he had some decent luck. On the other end, Ian Quinn, second race in a row with some mechanicals in the motos, took him out of Moto 1. But Conker was charging. First getting through on Saraceno, then on Talon Yockel, then eventually getting around Jay Irwin for that third spot later on in the very same lap down there in the green corner. And as Conker got through, well, then it was kind of lights out for Josh Conker to make a factory kart 2-3 with Billy Musgrave up the road safely in second. And, of course, AJ Myers dominating for the lead. And the battle was just between Irwin, Yockel, and Nathan Nicholson, all trading that fourth spot. Back and forth they went. But it was about AJ, who just made it look easy there in Moto number 1. And then in Moto 2, an even more rain-soaked Newcastle Motorsports Park circuit for AJ Myers. No problem at all. As Billy Musgrave mentioned over the weekend, the guy that seems to win here more than anybody else still was the fastest by far in the wet conditions. There you saw Musgrave getting by on Ian Quinn. He once again found himself second fiddle to the Magic Man, and once again the battles were just crazy behind. You saw Yockel, Irwin trying to carve their way through. The massive spray, you can't see anything when it's that wet. But still, the Kiwi was making moves, and this was crazy between himself and Nathan Nicholson going at it again. Big dive bombs to the inside, the outside, over-unders, and struggling for grip on the exit. It was a show to watch, but ultimately Nicholson would go around there, coming out of the horseshoe, end his hopes in Moto 2, and it's going to put him a little further down the grid here today. Josh Conker there on the outside of Irwin still continue to fight. Ian Quinn trying to make up for that bad Moto 1. He would have a little better run through that infield shark fin, and even then, a little bit of side butt action as they're all just slipping and sliding, bouncing off of each other. Talon Yockel getting a better run. Saraceno trying to hang in there as well on the Maranello. Ian Quinn getting around him with a sick over-under, an outside move, but then he spun, or halfway did, and Saraceno kind of followed him off the cliff down there in turn 1, while AJ was just out for a Saturday afternoon cruise en route to sweeping both motos. He's made it look easy in the dry and the wet. What is the secret? Well, let's find out here, Simon.
Thanks, Xander. Standing by with AJ Myers, your pole sitter for the Pro Stars main here today. Not quite the dominance we've been used to seeing from you in Charlotte, but this weekend seems to be more the AJ of old, running away and just kind of, you know, doing your own thing, being seconds in front of everybody else and having a good handle over the weekend. How's it been from your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte obviously wasn't the best weekend for us. It was a new track. We didn't know what to expect when we got there. Definitely missed the setup in the final. And now we came here, and it's a good track for us. I know this track like the back of my hand. And, yeah, just got to keep it on the track and keep it up front.
Awesome. Well, we've seen you P1 in the wet and P1 in the dry here. Obviously, the pace going across the board. What's the game plan going forward from the pole position? Obviously, you want to try and get that whole shot, but beyond that, how do you approach a race like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since we've been on the dry tire even, so you don't know what we have out there, and I got two fast factory karts behind me, so hopefully I can break that gap and have another easy one, but I expect a fight on my hands.
All right, well, best of luck, AJ. We'll send it back to you, Xander.
Thank you.
There you have it from AJ Myers, the Magic Man, folks. Now, we are going to allow the drivers to begin to suit up and get their helmets on and take a moment. The official presenting partner of the Stars Championship Series Pro Show is Mazda Motorsports. We had two Mazda representatives that we spoke to, Chase Jones and Nathan Nicholson. Here's what they had to say.
Nicholson, and we're here at Newcastle Motorsports Park with Magic Kart racing the Pro Stars class. Super excited to be here. Mazda helped me out with this weekend. As you know, I'm one of the Mazda scholarship recipients this year. They've helped me out a lot so far this year, put me in a position to show at the pro level what I can do. Mazda has a ton of programs all the way from grassroots racing, club level stuff, all the way to semi-professional. So, you know, there's always a spot for anyone at Mazda. Mazda has ranks all the way from grassroots racing all the way to professional. They've helped me a lot get to where I am today. And of course, I started out with Stars back in 2021 racing shifter. So, you know, it's a pleasure to come back here and be with my family. So super glad to be back.
that I've had with them. Mazda's been supporting young and upcoming drivers and giving them a scholarship and different pathways to go through motorsports. I started out with Mazda with the Spec MX-5 shootout at CMP, ended up becoming a scholarship winner and raced with Mazda all of last year in Spec MX-5 Cup. Had some good success with them. Ended up having a couple wins and later on got invited to the MX-5 Cup shootout. Unfortunately, came a little short there, but Mazda does a great job developing young drivers and giving them a shot at the next ladder in motorsports.
And Chase Jones and Nathan Nicholson's two great success stories, and they are about to roll off here in this Pro Stars grid. As you can see, the field is ready. AJ Myers is set to lead us to green here, folks, and we are ready to fire off with him and Billy Musgrave, two of the most decorated American shifter kart pilots. AJ Myers with more national championships than I believe any other active pro shifter driver out there. And of course, Billy Musgrave, a 4-time Super Nationals winner in Las Vegas. As the field rolls on by, let's take a look at the starting lineup here for this Pro and Rock Stars main event. With the two of them on the front row, then it goes to Josh Conker and Nathan Nicholson on row number 2.
You go further back to Talon Yackel and Michael Riccio starting on row 3. Jay Irwin and Gavin Bailiff getting set to go green from the 4th row. Then you go back to David Carmody and Chase Jones on the 5th row.
David Carmody was one of the drivers that kind of snuck his way up into the top 10 in both motos yesterday. Again, rolling 9th alongside Chase Jones, who has not had a whole lot of seat time in a gearbox car, so to start 10th in this main, pretty respectable, and also wrenching basically on his own kart here this weekend. Behind them, as you mentioned, we go outside the top 10. Vincenzo Saracino and Charlie Steins make up row 6, alongside Jonathan Ocasio and Joseph Lonnie on row 7.
You go back to Jason Enrique and Andy Rule starting on row number 8. Jared Ramnarine and Chris Verino starting on row 9. Eli Fox and Ian Quinn, after a couple of mechanical issues and a DNF, have put him way back in the field here. He's starting on the 10th row. And then Dane McMahon and Tegan Poles on the 11th row.
Justin White and Mitchell Lowry roll off back on row number 12. White sporting that number 3 plate. Then it's Frankie Iadavea, Safik Odak III, Miles Danoff, Logan Hickman, and Carl Weber will roll off 29th of a massive grid of Pro Stars drivers. Chris Verino in that sub-rock category sports the 400 number plate, so he's the highest running of the subdivision of this total category. A rock driver can win the main. Josh Conker's done it before, but it's definitely tougher as you're a little bit down on horsepower to the super fast KZ-powered machines that are the main engine of choice and class of choice. For Pro Stars, there's problems already. Vincenzo Saracino is headed for the scale line. Early exit for Vincenzo. What a heartbreak for Vincenzo Saracino here early in this main. He will not even get to start it. So we're down one already. A driver that was slated to start well inside the top 20. That's going to shake up our field here as the final few drivers get into their boxes. Rusty Ferguson quickly getting the last few into their positions as the Stars Championship Series officials await at the top of the grid. AJ Myers on the right in the blue, white, and orange Magic colors. Billy Musgrave in the red and black factory kart colors for JMF Racing. Pro Stars and Rock Stars. King of the Castle, the main event. We go to the lights here. Who gets the whole shot off the line? And away we go. AJ Myers with a rocket ship start there. And a great one as well further back for Michael Riccio. He'll have nowhere to go with it. He ends 6th. And around off the bat, David Carmody and Jay Irwin off into the grass. Irwin, hand in the air there at Carmody. He's trying to muscle his way out of the dirt. And look at this up front. Billy Musgrave is fighting for the lead over AJ.
Yeah, Billy Musgrave already firing shots at AJ Myers. And he has a teammate right behind him in Josh Conker. So they're going to work together here and try and get ahead of Mr. Newcastle himself and the Magic Man, AJ Myers.
AJ Myers now with about a 3-car length gap back to Billy Musgrave into the cell tower hairpin. What a start as well for Josh Conker to hold on to that 3rd spot through turns 1 and 2. Through the horseshoe we go, and with about 3 to 4 car lengths separated between all of our top 3 starters. Nathan Nicholson in 4th there. What a great return. Again, just like Chase Jones, not too much karting action for Nathan Nicholson. He's looking good as Jones goes wide there out of the, and contact Charlie Steins up and over the front end of Jones. and both of them are going to lose a ton of spots as Chase got kind of shoved wide there in the scale tower 90, and from there he was just hanging on, and Charlie Steins popped over the front end, probably some damage to both. And speaking of damage, how about the damage and the heartbreak to the championship for Jay Irwin, as he is going to have to watch all 18 minutes plus 2 laps from the sidelines.
Yeah, and this is really going to help out the championship hopes of AJ Myers here in this one, and Billy Musgrave and Josh Conker, who both had issues and DNF from the first round at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Talon Yockel in the top 5 here and having really good pace in the early stages of this race. When I spoke to AJ Myers earlier this week, he told me, I have to get the setup right this time. I can't make the same mistake that we made at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I cannot lose at my own track.
Yeah, and again, this is far from his home track, but he might as well put his name on the billboard. He has so many wins, and he has so many times been the fastest driver here in Newcastle. His teammate Nathan Nicholson, on the other hand, plenty of laps around here as well, but it's not looking as pretty to start this main. He is under heavy fire from his former teammate and Soda USA's newest shifter pilot, Talon Yockel, who is pressuring him tremendously for 4th. Let's check this out. Down to turn 1. Is Talon close enough? He's setting him up. High, low, inside, a little wiggle over the kink, but he gets it done. The number 1 plate's up to 4th.
Almost sideways there for Talon Yockel on the absolute limit here. Up in a P4 here. Not the best opening round for Yockel, but looking to get a much better finish here this time out. Alan Isenbart as Nicholson blows the braking zone into the barriers for Nathan Nicholson and out of this one early.
Yeah, that was very uncharacteristic, and hard to say if that was a driving error or if he lost braking power. You've got 3 different brakes on these cars, one on each of the front tires and one on the rear axle. One of the 2 or one of the 3 or maybe more might have blown it, but in any case, Nathan Nicholson goes from in the top 5 to into the wall here early in this main. Lots of stuff to talk about in these first few laps, as we have finally spread them out up front. And looking back here, this is again Riccio. Annie Rule making a move there on Gavin Bailiff. So Rule up to 7th and marked them all up 1 more spot higher with Nicholson out. So Annie's up to 6, Riccio into the top 5, Bailiff there 7th. Annie Rule is up 10 spots as here comes Ian Quinn. He's up a ton as well, all 11, nearly 12. He couldn't get by on Gavin Bailiff, but Ian Quinn and Annie Rule from way back have clawed their way into the top 10.
Yeah, a lot of drivers making big moves. Annie Rule with 10 spots gained. Absolutely insane here so far. She's been trying to rename this event to the Queen of the Castle for so long. And for this weekend, she has to continue to make up spots if she wants to be in contention. But she's closing down the gap to her teammate and Michael Riccio ahead here. So what could it be from Annie Rule here, looking for a top 5 finishing spot?
Yeah, she needs to keep on marching forward as Gavin Bailiff has remained close enough behind the young lady through the bus stop chicane. Check out Ian Quinn, though. Again, he already tried 1 attempt on Bailiff. He obviously feels pretty fast on that PSL Beer Alert. Now he's going to look to the inside in the short chute. Got him. Ian Quinn up and into 7th now and still digging for more. That is 12 spots gained in the first 4 laps for Ian Quinn. What a charge.
Yeah, good charge up the field for Ian Quinn. A little bit of a check-in on your leaders. AJ Myers went purple last time by, a 106.063. Billy Musgrave still in 2nd, but losing a lot of time to the Magic Man. That gap getting bigger and bigger every single lap, about a 1.5 seconds now.
Yeah, AJ Myers led the first 2/3 of the King of the Castle main last year, but it was actually one of the European exports here, and David Trefilov, who challenged him. The Maranello machines don't have their superstars here this weekend on the SRP factory team entries, but Trefilov and Tim Troger were right there all the way through to the end, and they were a little better on the tires. That's the only way they were able to beat AJ. They weren't faster than him on raw pace, but they were better over the long run. That might be the only hope for the American-made the red, white, and blue squad for JMF Racing here. The Canadian-based team, so put some red and white love out there for them as well. But the North American manufactured machines, 2nd and 3rd, maybe the only hope they've got is that AJ is going to fade. But unlike what we saw in Charlotte, he's been great from the drop of the green.
Yeah, definitely. Already lapping 0.4 of a second quicker than Billy Musgrave here. Billy said he needed to find a lot of pace in his machine to really get up to that rear bumper of AJ Myers, but just not here at the moment with still just under 12 minutes to go left in this main event. Annie Rule already looking to get past her teammate in Michael Riccio. She continues to make up time and continues to close down that gap, but along with her, Ian Quinn right behind and looking to go along with Annie Rule.
Yeah, Ian Quinn is not done marching towards the top 5. He's able to at least see and almost grab that 5th spot from Riccio. Rule still standing in the way. Both of them, like you said, look to be a little better than the man currently holding that final spot in the top 5 as Gavin Bailiff lurks on there behind them. Then it's Eli Fox in the 9th spot ahead of Justin White in the number 3 plate back in 10th. As we round the final turn, Quinn got a good exit, but he didn't get the best launch down the straight. Rule's got a massive run. She's going to take it all the way to the inside on her teammate and get clear. Annie Rule into the top 5. Riccio back to 6. Let's see if Quinn tries to stuff it. No, he can't. Riccio's actually going to go back in on Rule in the shark fin, and that tripped up Ian Quinn and allowed Gavin Bailiff to get back by.
Yeah, Gavin Bailiff already made up another spot there. So just heads up move there by Gavin Bailiff, and for Annie Rule just still looking to get past Michael Riccio, who went right back in the shark fin the last time around. So for Bailiff, he's up in a 7th. Quinn fell back to 8th. Right behind them, Justin White and Eli Fox making up some time here as well. For Justin White, after a mechanical in qualifying, put him at the tail end of the field at both of the motos. Has been a drive up the field for him all weekend long.
Yeah, Michael Riccio here, just a consistent run hanging on as Quinn gets back by. Gavin Bailiff is going to answer again. And this right here is a totally different circumstance than what we've seen in most other classes today, where we've been preaching about how you need to be patient and kind of time your passes. In shifter, it is so tough to make a pass the moment the opportunity arises. Even if it's on a guy who just got by you, you might as well take it. And so that has now brought in Eli Fox and Justin White to the mix.
Yeah, everybody continuing to fight here. Ian Quinn looking to go back on Gavin Bailiff, not close enough. Something smoking at the back of that Factory Fury GP kart for Eli Fox, and it's kind of similar to what we saw at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but just a lot of smoke coming out of that Factory Fury GP.
What that probably is the oil overflow line from the motor starting to spit out the back. And what it does is it basically slicks the track off for the guy behind in Justin White. That makes it so impressive that Justin's able to hang on, because it basically gets burned off by the next 3 tires. There's not enough oil for the surface color to change, the marshals to see it, but yeah, he's basically leaking oil straight to the guy behind. You think of the Speed Racer cartoon when they would dump all kinds of extra things, or Mario Kart dumping a banana peel behind you. That's basically what's happening, unintentionally of course, with Eli Fox having that loose oil overflow bottle or line back to Justin White. Let's see if Justin with the run on the straight can get by him. He can't, and look how much he's going to slip coming out of the corner there as his hands shimmy for a second going through the center.
Yeah, not close enough that time by for Justin White. A quick update here on your leaders. AJ Myers and Billy Musgrave, 2.2 seconds the gap in between. Oh, and there goes Justin White on the inside of Eli Fox there. He's going to get stuck on the outside, and they continue to go side by side here. White on the inside of the green corner. He gets through. A little bit of a hip check in the process as well, but Billy Musgrave just losing time to AJ Myers here.
Yeah, the gap's just opening up here, and AJ Myers' masterclass seems like what we're still in store for after watching him dominate both motos yesterday. Eli Fox hanging on, a little bit wounded right now as the field goes through the 90s. There's Talon Yockel. He's in no man's land in 4th. He's got to stay focused, though, because this group behind, they're running some pretty good lap times. If Talon slacks off at all, they could try to track him back down. Let's see what it looks like. Yockel of 106.4 should be safe, as Riccio and Rule lost some time to him that time around. So down to turn 1, Michael Riccio, Annie Rule, Gavin Bailiff, Ian Quinn here in this 4-car fight. Now, further even back from them, behind Eli Fox, the good news for Eli, there's a little bit of cushion back behind the top 10. You've got Joseph Lonnie right there on the Maranello. Justin White there back in front of Eli Fox. We went back forward a minute, but Joseph Lonnie just runs in the 11th spot. Then it's a little ways away to Jonathan Ocasio, Jason Enrique, and Charlie Steins running together. Steins and Chase Jones still in the top 15 after their contact earlier on in this main, as this 4-car skirmish still is just kind of rubber banding together, but not necessarily going side by side yet.
Yeah, not side by side at the moment. Gavin Bailiff again on the rear bumper here of Annie Rule. Does Bailiff go? Taps the back of his helmet. Telling Ian Quinn continue to push him here. There goes Rule on the inside at turn number 14. She's able to get clear, and now going to be the lead Magic Kart and try to pull away here from Gavin Bailiff and Ian Quinn. Does Riccio have a run on the main straightaway? And the gap opens up here a little bit, and there goes Ian Quinn looking to get around Gavin Bailiff. Still not close enough for the two of them, and Riccio losing the spot, conceding Annie Rule in the top 5.
Yeah, smart move by Bailiff to kind of fade low. Riccio, another send in the shark fin, back on his teammates. So Riccio shuffles Rule back. Now Quinn again still getting nothing but a rear bumper right in the front of everywhere he wants to go from Gavin Bailiff. Finally, he gets it done on the inside, forces his way through, and he's going to bring Justin White along with him as well. And that's the one risk you take by defending your position that many times in a row, is you might lose not just one but multiple spots when the pack lines up behind you and they all stack up. So now Bailiff falls to the 9th spot, Quinn up to 7th, and it's bought Michael Riccio and Annie Rule a little bit of real estate, as Rule is going to send it on Riccio in the scale tower. Another big move down the inside. She'll retake 5th.
Yeah, and there went Ian Quinn on Justin White, defending, that time by, as White still looks for a way around. Let's see if Riccio has the run again and goes here for the 3rd time in the shark fin for Michael Riccio, but he's going to fall under fire to Ian Quinn, who goes on the inside and gets clear. So Riccio not going to be able to go back on his teammate there, and side by side further back, Justin White and Gavin Bailiff. So Quinn slots up another spot and now going to have his sights set on Annie Rule.
We've been hyping up Ian Quinn's drive through the field. Check that out. 16 spots gained for the Maranello entry of Justin White. The Kartworks USA driver has climbed from basically dead last into the top 10 with more spots still within striking distance. 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. He's close enough on Riccio. He could send it right here. Does he? Oh no, Riccio covering it off smartly. Now he'll get a little run to the outside, kind of let him back in, look to cross him over, and Riccio's got to stay narrow. It's going to open that gap up in front, but check it out. White tried to send a nose there, and now he has to go on the defensive as Gavin Bailiff is looking, and here comes Fox to the inside of Bailiff. He'll get by.
Yeah, and another driver got through there as well. That was Joseph Lowney, who got through for the 10th spot. As they go side by side, a little bit of contact between Lowney and Fox, and that gives Gavin Bailiff a pretty good run coming to the main straightaway.
Yeah, so that's going to give them some room to battle on their own. 9th, 10th, and 11th on screen. Fox, Lowney, Bailiff. Fox going low there in 1 to kind of hold the spot. Here comes Lonnie again, door to door. He gets through. Joseph Lonnie into the top 10. Oh, and Fox pops the rear tire, pops them both out of gear, and Gavin Bailiff's going to get around Fox, and that gap is going to open up quite a bit now to the 8th place of Justin White. And Gavin Bailiff, Eli Fox, they just can't seem to get away from each other here in this main, running 10th and 11th now, 9th and 10th, as Vincenzo Saraceno runs further back. Did we lose? I don't know if we lost count.
Yeah, he went into the pits before the race started there, David.
Yeah, it's something weird with the timing showing up there for Vincenzo Saraceno, showing an 11th on the ticker for a minute. But either way, 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. A.J. Myers' lead continues to Billy Musgrave. Looks like it'll fix itself when we hit the line this time. Musgrave to conquer. The 2 JMF Racing factory karts running, lap for lap, kind of pace for pace, running their own little session, it feels like, there, as they are just by themselves. Not as fast as AJ, but quicker than Talanyako. Actually, check this out. If we go up to Billy Musgrave, we mentioned the smoke off the back of Eli Fox. I think Billy Musgrave might be having the same issue. Check out the smoke coming off the 211. Billy Musgrave looks like he's also having some puffs of smoke come out the back of the motor, and it might be the exact same situation of that oil line going a little bit loose. It wasn't as major as Eli. Might be a false call. No, there it is right there. There's the smoke. Once he goes to the left-hand corners and that line and that bottle just tips over to the right side, it just starts spilling oil, and that's going to make things tricky for Josh Conker to run in his tire tracks and try and run behind him, because, again, it just spills that little bit of oil to slick the track off.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw the same thing from these 2 factory karts last time out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, so just a little bit of the same, but Eli Fox still out here and running, so not too big of an issue here so far, just I guess a little bit of a question mark, as Ian Quinn was able to get around and ahead of Annie Rule, who falls back to the 6th spot there. So Andy Rule looking to get back on Ian Quinn there, but has a pretty good run out of the I-70 hairpin. Looks like Quinn went a little wide there on the exit, and now Rule going to be brought right back into play and look for a move this time going into the scoreboard.
Yeah, Ian Quinn, Andy Rule, Michael Riccio, Justin White, this 4-car group. They're going to be joined by Joseph Lonnie here in a moment, who's having a fantastic day in that 9th position, looking for a best career result. Is Joseph Lonnie in the 218, and really getting himself some well-deserved airtime for just a solid performance this weekend. The couple of other DNFs, you saw Nathan Nicholson go out along with Jay Irwin on the opening lap. Mitchell Lowry has also gone out. So has Carl Weber and Frankie Iadavea, and those two might have collided. That's taken them out of this main event. But watching 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, the oil leaking as Justin White tries a move on Michael Riccio. It's not going to really affect performance of the driver too much that has the leak. It'll more throw the guy off behind him because it won't leak enough. It's the overflow bottle for the oil off the motor, or the gear oil, that is going to be losing it. So it's extra oil already kind of falling into that can. It's not going to, overheat the motor or risk any issues. But again, it just makes it so much tougher to follow that driver. So Musgrave to Conquer, 4 seconds back from AJ Myers. This is still just a good day because while Billy Musgrave was fast in Charlotte, he was taken out in the main with the mechanical, and Josh Conquer never seemed to kind of get proper footing in North Carolina. And speaking with him through the weekend, they just felt like they kept missing the jetting, the carburation on his power plant, each session. And it didn't really feel like it all kind of came together. It put him in the mid-pack, and once you're back there, it's hard to fight your way out of it. So to have a run like this where they're safely 2nd and 3rd, that's a good way to kind of end the weekend off and build from it as we go towards the latter half of this Stars Championship Series season. Now, check out the fight here at the end of the top 10. White, Lonnie, Bailiff, 8th, 9th, and 10th. They have pulled away from Eli Fox, and that gap back from them to the next group is still pretty massive. So their forward progress may kind of end here as the battling between Rule and Riccio has kind of subsided while they focus on chasing Ian Quinn, and that's allowed them to pull away from this trio right here.
Yeah, everybody's kind of just calmed down here in this stage of the race as Lonnie and Justin White working together quite nicely, as well for Gavin Bailiff as they all cycle through. Talon Yako just a no man's land here. No draft, no push, no nothing for Talon Yako, just setting in lap time after lap time, being pretty consistent in the process, just not the same pace that Musgrave or Conquer have here at the moment. And then everybody else for Bailiff not close enough on Lonnie, and everybody else just kind of staying pretty stagnant here. Good drive for Charlie Steins and Chase Jones to continue to go here in this one. Steins was able to get back up to 12th. Chase Jones currently 15th, so not too much, but up at the front, the gap still about 5 seconds here in between AJ Myers, Billy Musgrave, and Josh Conquer. Those two JMF factory car drivers kind of working together here. And for Conquer, it's been quite a while since he's been on the podium. If I'm not mistaken, it could be since Night Fight all last year since Conquer's been on the podium. As Lonnie there looking for a move on his teammate and Justin White.
Yeah, couldn't quite get around him in turn 1. White parking the bus on the inside now as we are down to 2 laps to go, and that's allowed Gavin Bailiff to slip through. So slick move from Gavin to get that spot away, move him back up into 9th. That's going to be still a consistent, another top 10 run, another spot higher in the championship points haul from Indiana for Gavin as he gets set to head to home turf in a month's time for the Clash at the Club. The Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati will host the Stars Championship Series in the middle of July. And Gavin Bailiff, we know he'll be fast there, living on property, helping manage the racetrack along with his brother Finn and his parents who help run the Trinity Karting Group team. We know he's going to be quick, and he's looking for some redemption when we go back to the club because he was a rocket ship there last year and just didn't quite get it all put together in the main like he would have liked. 1 lap to go, though, for this battle towards the end of the top 10. This is 9th and 10th on your screen, and let's start to work our way up the field. Obviously, AJ Myers, dominant run here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. It's just another, lapping session, it feels like, for AJ. And this is, just in the same way Nick Terlecki felt like the voodoo, the luck did him dirty in Charlotte. AJ Myers felt the same. This is a guy who hates to lose, and well, I would too if I got so accustomed to winning and got all the titles and all the accolades that AJ has accrued over his lengthy and storied karting career. And for the Magic Man, this is a typical performance when it comes to Indiana, and more than anything, a typical performance when you've got A.J. Myers at the wheel. Out of the final 2 turns, A.J. Myers dominates the weekend in Indiana. He is king of the castle in Pro Stars.
A.J. Myers, what a performance as Billy Musgrave and Josh Conker get set to cross the line now, 2nd and 3rd, rounding up your podium.
Talon Yockel crosses there in 4th, and what a run to 5th for Ian Quinn, picking up a number of spots from well outside the top 15 to charge into the top 5. And for the 2nd race in a row, he's got a great points result in the main after some misfortune in the motos. And he rolled with a good result in 6th. Michael Riccio, another respectable run there in 7th. There's the congrats from Josh Conker. Here's Billy Musgrave. Tip of the cap. Hey, we gave it all we had. We had nothing for you, AJ. And there's a good kudos from Talon Yockel as well coming by. Former teammate, former protege to AJ Myers. Annie Rule going. I mean, you look at the field. So much respect they have for this wily veteran, AJ Myers, who is as good as ever here. He's joked as the years have gone on. He's like, I'm going to be too old to be getting it done. At some point, I'm going to have to retire. Well, I hope retirement's not anywhere in the plans anytime soon, because there is no need to back out. He is still as good as he has ever been. AJ Myers, victorious by 3 seconds here in Indiana. Again, the results, A.J. Myers over Musgrave and Conker by about 3 seconds. Talon Yockel and Ian Quinn, the top 5. To Rule, Riccio, Justin White, Gavin Bailiff, Joseph Lonnie. Solid performance to crack the top 10 and run as high as 9th there late in the going. Eli Fox hanging on with what looked to be a little bit of a wounded warrior in the 222, and the same really could be said for Charlie Steins and Chase Jones. Their contact early, still ripping off a top 15 result for the pair. And then the rest of the field here, heartbreak for Nathan Nicholson. Whatever went wrong for him on the opening couple laps took him out of 4th. And this, the ultimate other end of the spectrum storyline. Jay Irwin has the long and heartbreaking push to go back into the scale line as the Magic Man is burning it down across the racetrack there. Some donuts for A.J. Myers as he is victorious here in Newcastle, Indiana. What a run, what a weekend. You could not put it any more perfect. This is what you would call karting's version of a perfect game. Qualify on the pole, lead every lap, and win your heat races, and then do the exact same thing, flag to flag, in the main event. Nobody topped the charts in any of the official sessions behind the number 200 Magic Machine. So A.J. Myers, your winner here, folks, as the rest of the field rolls through the scale lines. We'll wait on him to slowly parade his way on in. And we'll take a moment to step away one more time. We return. Caleb Viesk will be down in pit lane with podium ceremonies and interviews from our top finishers and the rest of your Pro Stars field.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. we've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
Teardown beginning to get underway here from the Pro Stars main event and from King of the Castle overall. A fantastic Sunday after a pretty nasty and gnarly Saturday with the two motos plagued by rain the entire warm-ups today and the B pre-finals, leading us into a drying but very damp racetrack for those first few semi-pro category mains. Ultimately, the sun finally poking its head back out of the clouds and drying out this place that has been so soaked by rain these last few days. You can see the Pro Stars drivers working their way through the scale line here. It's going to take a minute because AJ Myers took a victory lap and did some donuts for the crowd here on hand in Indiana. Over 280 entries here this weekend for the Stars Championship Series King of the Castle. Let's talk to one of the biggest movers here today. Justin White, from basically dead last, drove his way, charged his way into the top 10. He's standing by with Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. And I think you said it best. From basically dead last in this main event, you've had to work your way up the field in every single moto and in the main event as well after issues in qualifying. I mean, a little bit of a consolation prize, you know, with the number 3 plate for you here this year, but how did it feel out there, you know, making up that many spots?
Yeah, the car felt really good at the beginning. Just trying to get by all those go-karts really shredded my tires. So when I was in battle for 5th at the end, I just didn't really have much. So I had to defend and just keep my position.
Yeah, I mean, you come back in a couple of weeks' time. You know, what would you do differently whenever you go to the Clash of the Club than what you did here this weekend?
I mean, nothing much. I just got to make sure my water tank doesn't come off my engine. Because I had pace all weekend for top 5 in quali and everything. I knew I could get it. Vincenzo was right up there, and I knew I could be with him. So if we just started a little bit better for that final, I think we would have been fighting for that top 3.
Yeah, I mean, finally, I know it wasn't the weekend you would have wanted, but who would you like to thank for the hard work all week?
Well, Carlos, Nathan from Marinello USA and Carlos Engines, my dad at Kartworks, you know, and my family for supporting me. It's awesome.
Sounds good. What do you guys have from Justin White working his way up the field?
An impressive drive nonetheless here. Mechanicals, again, you don't really have room for those with the way the Pro Show format goes, and just one of them forced Justin White to have to put on a show here in today's main event, coming from way back on the grid to charge into the top 10. Like you said, a little bit of a woulda, coulda, shoulda, but he knew that the speed was there, his driving was on point, and you just got to have everything go right the way that it did for AJ Myers here today. Now, on the other end, Ian Quinn, similar story. Had to make it a little bit tough for him to get himself as high as he did, but a great run. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, definitely interesting, right? Having to work your way through the field again, very similar to what we saw in Charlotte. But when you think about big picture, you think about championship, how good does it feel to end up with the top 5?
I think it's great for the points stall. Yesterday, with 2 heats where we finished less fortunate than we should have. It wasn't great for the points, but today, bringing that top 5, it's pretty valuable for getting at least a podium in that championship, and I'm really happy about it.
Sounds good. And lastly, I know you have a big support group here this weekend in the Midwest. Who would you like to thank for the support this weekend?
I'd like to thank PSL Karting Officials, Steel Motorsports, and Metco Manufacturing and Corporation based out of Willoughby, Ohio. You know, they gave me the opportunity to be here. I got a very nice go-kart, a very nice engine. Thank you, Donnie. And And I'd also like to thank my dad, Dan Quinn, and Mark Steele for just turning the wrenches and being on it the whole time.
Sounds good. Well, there you guys have me and Quinn. Another top 5 finish to get in the championship.
Yeah, again, as he mentioned, Caleb, two not so great heats for Ian Quinn off of a decent qualifying made. He had to really work for it here in the main, but he went up and grabbed himself a 5th place result and ends up still with a decent exit. But as he mentioned, it's going to be tough to catch AJ Myers, who went no worse than 3rd through Charlotte, and then of course went 1-1-1-1 all sessions here in Newcastle. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and everyone's going to be praying a bit on some bad luck for AJ to have any hope at snagging that Pro Stars Championship title here this weekend. Annie Rule was outspoken about how she's been hoping to make it Queen of the Castle. Well, today, close, but no cigar. P6. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. Definitely close, and I feel like you had the speed to do it, right? Moved up 11 spots there in that main event. How did it feel just working your way through the field? And I know you look very tired.
Yeah, I was holding my breath the entire time. I was just afraid to make it out alive. Obviously, Michael kind of helped me up a little bit. He said his steering column's bent, so I'll give him that. But we had the speed to catch back up to Talon and just didn't quite have enough in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I know going into Charlotte, you had been out of the kart for about 6 months. It had been quite a while, and you were struggling with whether it was the neck or whatever. How good did it feel this weekend? Being back at a track that you know and you're so familiar with, and going quick again.
Oh, it felt so good. The straightaway is my best friend. Like the arrow down the straightaway is so good. We had so much top speed. We hit 93. Like it was insane. And my neck, it's just we're going to PT twice a week, just trying to get that strength back, and it's a lot of work. But I'm really happy with this.
Yeah, and I know you have a big support group here as well, and the people that lift your pretty heavy go-karts. Who would you like to thank for the performance here this weekend?
Magic Kart, Checker Motorsports, AJ, coaches me, Barry, Robbie, my sister, my dad, Tom Buckley, Jackson, Gardner, everyone, the whole Stars family. Literally everyone was so supportive of me, and I could not be more grateful.
Sounds good. Well, there you guys have it from Annie Rule. Maybe next year, Queen of the Castle?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, there you guys have it. Back to you, Xander.
Yeah, a hard fought run for Annie as well, just like Ian Quinn having to march up the order, but still speed like she mentioned, and a hard fought 18 minutes plus 2 laps. It's tough to hang on to the steering wheel from start to finish when you've got a 6-speed, 125cc, 40-plus horsepower gearbox machine trying to buck you out of the seat at every single turn. So to hang on and put on the show that she did, as well as Ian to drive up the grid, very, very respectable result for Annie Rule. We're still waiting on the final few finishers to work their way over to the podium ceremonies and to chat with our top results as well. Of course, you've got a few coming in off the recovery hauler that are definitely worth chatting with on how their days fared at the end of it all. So, Caleb, let's go down to you.
Thank you, Xander. We're going to go straight into our podium celebrations here. In 3rd place for the JMF Canadian Factory team here, Josh Conker. Yeah, over here, Josh, and quick couple of questions here. I mean, you guys had the pace overall, right? It just wasn't enough to catch up to AJ, but just walk me through how that race went for you.
It was a good race. Glad to be able to complete a race for once. It's nice to, kind of get the full distance in and understand the factory car a little more. This is only my 2nd race on the chassis, and having Billy here helps the world. So for me, I thought the race was good. It was a little difficult to manage there behind Billy. I felt I was a little quicker, but I just struggled just to put the run together to get by him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been quite a while since you've been on the podium, right? I think the last time could have been at Night Fight last year, if I'm not mistaken, but it's been quite some time. I mean, how good does it feel? How much relief did you feel when you crossed the line in 3rd?
I wouldn't say relief. I was a little disappointed. I really wanted to get him. Kind of school the master a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's good to be back on the podium. I know I've had the speed. We've just had, struggled with some issues last year, and the new change for the season, it started out really well at Charlotte. We were missing one of the pieces for our package, but the chassis is just amazing there. And I can't thank the guys enough for what they put together here for this week.
Sounds good. Well, congrats, and I know you have some Canadian geese here supporting you guys as well. So congrats to Josh Conker and the JMF team for a podium, and the other JMF and factory kart himself, the All-American Badass, Billy Musgrave. Billy, I know definitely not where you would have wanted to finish, and your pretty good friend, AJ Myers, finished on the top step of the podium. What would have missed there for you guys to really challenge AJ for the win?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to beat AJ here for I think about 10 years now, and I mean, honestly, when he's on his A game at this track, I don't think there's a driver in the world that can go toe-to-toe to him. So, honestly, credit where credit's due. He's freaking a magician around here, quite literally, with the magic cart. But no, I'm pretty stoked. I mean, for me and Josh to put it 2-3 and a double podium here. You know, we went with a little bit different setup for that main event. Weren't really sure how the track was going to come together. I mean, for me, that was actually the most running in the drive I've gotten all weekend. So it was a little bit of a gamble. I think we missed it a little bit for sure. Definitely learned a lot though. So yeah, honestly, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a long haul for you to get out here, right? So who would you like to thank that put everything here together for you?
Honestly, huge thanks to Brad Shabashi and JMF Motorsports for the hospitality and believing in us with their driver development program, pulling all the Canadians down like Josh and Aiden and the rest of them, and then all my boys back home who are working away in the shop. I appreciate you guys and everyone who's believing in us and what we're trying to do for the sport. So yeah, I mean, here's another one for American made, and yeah, we're not stopping. We're coming hard.
Well, there you guys have it for Billy Musgrave, but time to move on to our race winner, the magician, the magic man himself, AJ Meyer. Well, AJ, I spoke to you yesterday afternoon whenever you were driving in the wet. You said the car felt perfect. You felt better than you ever have before. How good did that feel out there?
It feels good just to get the final victory out of the way. I mean, I've won a lot of heat races this year, it feels like. I've qualified full a lot this year, but the victory in the final hasn't come, whether it's KA racing, whether it's shifter racing. So it feels good to get the monkey on the back a little bit and have a good weekend.
Yeah, and you guys have a big team here, a lot of shifter contingency, and I know you've been working super hard with all the other drivers as well, Andy, Michael.
Studies show that even the best current generation of simulators only convince 50% of the human brain that they are real. Here at SimCraft, that just isn't realistic enough. Developed to offer the most realistic karting sim experience in the world, all testing has shown that the physics engine used in SimCraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, But I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our coverage from King of the Castle, the second round of the Stars Championship Series, with once again record-setting numbers and some awesome racing on what has turned to a beautiful Sunday afternoon. For all of us here at the Stars Championship Series and Newcastle Motorsports Park's hardworking staff, and for myself, Xander Clements, alongside Simon Sykes, Caleb Bieska, and the rest of our Superstar Kart Chaser team, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.